My name is Alan Knox. My practice really concerns photography's role in the sublime and uncanny. I first got into photography when I was still in high school, but that was really an invaluable experience for me of really learning photography as an art form in a proper darkroom. I since progressed my photography education on at City of Glasgow College. In 2011, I was awarded the Street Level PhotoWorks City of Glasgow College Prize, which allowed me to spend the entire summer with free use of the darkroom. It's just an incredible opportunity to really, get to know the ropes properly of darkroom photography and just be able to really sort of hone my skills. After that, I progressed my education on at Glasgow School of Art. I graduated in 2015. Since graduating, I've participated in a number of group shows internationally. I was selected for Daniel Blau Gallery's 5 Under 30 show in London. I've exhibited at Circulation Festival in Paris, the Jill Todd Photography Award in Stills Gallery in Edinburgh, and I exhibited as part of Tabula Rasa at Kaunas Gallery in Lithuania with some great artists and friends from Glasgow. I also exhibited with them again the year later at Street Level PhotoWorks in Glasgow, and that was just a fantastic experience to finally be able to exhibit at street level after having been connected with the gallery for so many years. My practice moved to video when I participated in NIDA Photography Symposium in Lithuania. The work that led to the editions I'm showing at street level was really part of my degree project called Universal Sympathy. Broadly, that involves scattering my grandfather's ashes onto photographic paper as photograms in patterns resembling stars and galaxies, the universe. This, for me, was a way of coming to terms with the loss of my grandfather. I lost all my grandparents and several other family members when I was still quite young, and the project for me was a way of coming to terms with that. I'd always been very interested in astronomy and astrology, and the project for me was a way of bringing all of that together. Scattering the ashes onto photograms, it became very clear quickly that they would look like stars. The areas in white on the paper are really the shadow cast by the trace of the ash. The areas in black are the areas where the paper is being purely exposed to the light. From then it became very clear to me I could really run with that theme. Do we have a memory of having originated in the stars? As Carl Sagan says, we're all made of stardust. I'd always been very inspired by the photographer Hiroshi Sugimoto. One of the formative experiences when I was studying photography was visiting Hiroshi Sugimoto's exhibition at the Edinburgh Gallery of Modern Art, especially his lightning fields. And from then on I discovered his Seascapes project. And it was very interesting to find out that he works with photography as a means of asking, do we have a memory of having originated in the ocean? And with my own project, I really wanted to take that to its logical conclusion. Do we have a memory of having originated in the stars and planets? So for me, it was a way of coming to terms with both a personal loss, but also asking some very sort of weighty universal questions of where do we come from? Where do we go to when we die? Are we made of star stuff? Are we still made of star stuff when we die? Do we ever cease to be star stuff? When does a subject become an object? Do we become objects in photographs? I was really interested in working with all those questions. For me, one of my favorite quotes from Hiroshi Sugimoto was that a picture is a picture because it is a fiction. A photograph is a photograph because it appears not to be a fiction. With a photograph, the medium itself is a parody, and that parody has a surprise ending that continues ad infinitum. The surprise ending in my own photography was that although the photographs may at first appear to be stars and universes, the photographs were actually of human remains. You are the sublime object. The sublime object is not the universe. The sublime object comes from within. We are all part of a continuum. We are all, one with the universe and the stars. I really wanted my photographs to have this sort of double reading, that you can interpret them first as stars and planets, but eventually the photographs can have a whole new meaning and a whole new reading to them. The photograms I'd originally made were all quite big. They were about a meter long. For this series, I really focused on making them slightly more intimate. So the series is made basically by using fiber-based matte photographic paper with an enlarger. From then on, in a darkroom, the ashes are scattered directly onto the paper, loosely in patterns resembling stars and galaxies and planets, images which are very iconic and visible and memorable to most people who are familiar with space photography. From then on, I open the enlarger for a slight amount of time. It could be sort of 15 seconds, 20 seconds, just to get the right shade of darkness and light in the photogram. I also sort of use some darkroom techniques to give shading and slight coloration to the composition. From then on, nothing is sort of left on the paper. The ash is moved off the paper, so the paper can then be developed and fixed. What photography means to me now is really a means of making the invisible sort of forces of nature visible to the naked eye. It's a means of, opening up the subconscious. These images are all sort of somewhere stored in our memory, in our minds, but for me photography is a means of sort of pulling those out from the subconscious and making them visible. I was very inspired by the psychoanalysis of Freud and Lacan, and really working with how does photography function as a sublime object. When we lose loved ones, objects often come to fill the place they've left, and I was very interested to see how, or to really experiment with how far can we take that with photographs, how much of photographs of loved ones can come to fill the space that they leave. I'm hopefully going on to complete an MA this year in September, and to further those themes of photography and the afterlife, and really explore more how the afterlife has been represented within historical photography and art, and sort of working more with those themes of photography and its role in the subconscious.